What is up, guys? AJS here. Got the Firefly 2 lent to me by Zach Wall. This vape was lent to me with the Ghost MV1, and they are both full convection on-demand vapes, but are very, very, very different. What I love about the Firefly 2 is it is just such a simple vape. There's a lot of vapes that have a lot of parts to it, a lot of convolutedness, sort of like the Ghost does with their crucibles and the weird button combos and all that stuff. This vape is just so incredibly simple. Essentially, there is a mouthpiece and there is a lid and your bowl. So essentially, you pack up your bowl. Firefly 2 recommends a coarse grind, if I am not mistaken. And the lid is magnetic, so you just pack up your bowl, get the attached lid, and boom. That's simple. The only thing is you got to make sure it is sealed all the way around. Sometimes the magnet, it's very strong and doesn't automatically line up, so just be careful putting it on, make sure everything lines up, and make sure it is sealed nice and good. And you'll be good to go and start vaping like pretty much instantly. There's really nothing to learn. Extremely elegant device compared to most I use. I use RBT vapes a lot, and it's essentially built just for function. So it's just a piece of wood with a heater and some glass, and it just mates to another piece of glass, and that's the gist of it. Whereas this, it's built to feel a little bit more elegant. It's built to feel like a premium vape, and it definitely does. This is one I highly recommend, and the biggest reason is going to be the flavor. As a lot of you guys know, it has an all glass bowl, a glass air path. Technically, there may be some silicone because along here is where the seal is. But I imagine the vapor is just going to be traveling straight through the majority of the time, so I don't think any of it will really touch it, although the silicone will probably technically be in the air path a little bit. It's not exactly sure how that all works out, but there is an app to go along with this vape, and it is basically to set the temperature or just to change a little bit of preferences. You can either have it set to one button, will fire it up, the other button will fire it up, both will fire it up, or you just press both at the same time. So a couple options just to sort of get your device firing how you'd like it to. And the buttons aren't actually buttons, but they are sensors, which is pretty neat. You don't have to worry about things pressing it down. You don't have to worry about a mechanical click or anything like that wearing out, because it is just a sensor. You just push your finger lightly against it and the heating will start on either one, depending on which you set it through in the app. I'm not sure what button comes standard without the app, but yeah, you can just set whichever button you want, and then you can also set the temp, and then you can adjust the overall heat of the device by like a percentage, just so you can kind of hone in on the exact temp you like. I like to sit around the lower temps, like 360 to 380, just so I can really, really savor that flavor, because guys, it is just incredible. Like, it feels like the vape heats your herb just so gently, so gradually. There's no extreme heat, there's no extreme temps. Everything is just, it's just a really smooth, nice, fun vape to use. I'm gonna do a little demonstration. It is a 3-second preheat every time, which is absolutely incredible. That's very hard to say for most vapes. The splinter and the stem pod and those, 3 seconds is pretty good. With like the Ghost, it'll take a little bit longer. I know with the Haze Square, that's considered on demand. That would take a little bit longer. So 3 seconds every time is, guys, that's pretty incredible. The vape feels awesome to hold. It's a great weight. It's so simple. I heard there's a learning curve that a lot of people talk about. For me, I picked it up, I got Vapor my very first draw, and I haven't changed anything since. I've pulled hard, I've pulled light, I've pulled medium. Pretty much always works. I really don't have any problems with this one. So I'm going to do a little rip. So here you can see the light. When I touch the sensor, the light will blink 3 times, I believe, and on the third one, I think my finger's not I don't think it's sensing it properly, just because I'm holding it at a weird angle. Yeah, see, there we go. And then it stays green, and that's how you know you're ready to vape. And this will start glowing red. And yeah, it's pretty simple. So here we go. You guys probably won't see a ton of vapor, but it's going to taste great on my end, and the effects are always there. So here we go. Nice light vapor. I definitely saw it on my end. It probably looked a little wispy to you guys, but this isn't a vape you use to power through a bowl with. This isn't something you use to get as medicated as possible, as quickly as possible with. This is something you use simply because you just love the device, you love the way it performs, you love the way it tastes. It's a very smooth vape. You don't feel much on your throat. It's very consistent. It's really just a very enjoyable vape to use. There's going to be a lot of people who will like the vape but won't use the vape, just simply because it may not get them medicated enough fast enough. Sometimes people like something like the Evo or the Splinter or the Tubo, where they can just pack up a fat water bowl and get ripped pretty quick. This isn't necessarily the vape for that. This is something more, you're sitting by a campfire and you're just looking to just kick back with your legs up and just really enjoy a session. It reminds me more of a lot of people like your stereotypical bong rip, you know, just sort of 0 to 100 as fast as possible. And other people like to just sort of sit back with a joint and just enjoy the experience and savor it. And that's how I kind of view the Firefly too. It's definitely a connoisseur's vape, which you've probably heard. I may have said that already. But yeah, don't get this vape if you're specifically looking for huge clouds. When you turn the temp up, I turned it up to 421s, and guys, you can definitely get some great vapor from this. I just don't think that's exactly what it's designed for. It's designed to just sort of lay it back and just really enjoy your session with it. So we're gonna go for another rip. A little preheat. The flavor is just so incredible. It's so pure tasting, and I've described this in another video, but there's different kinds of flavors I sort of describe with vapes, and one is either a very thick flavor or a very clean flavor. And the Firefly 2 definitely leans towards the clearness. I think it depends on just how the heater releases the terpenes, how the vapor path is, if it condenses the vapor, if the vapor comes through smoothly, things like that. So while the grasshopper can give very thick, full-bodied flavor, it can kind of die off pretty fast as a result, and it's not necessarily like as pure tasting, whereas the Firefly 2, it doesn't come through extremely thick, the flavor, or like very resinous, but it comes through very defined. You know exactly what you're tasting. Every single herb is going to taste different through it, assuming it has, you know, a different terp profile. It just, the flavor, you really cannot underestimate it. You cannot understate it, how important that is with this vape. It's one of the main reasons this vape gets the attention it does. So cannot undervalue that. It is definitely incredible flavor. Going for another rip. Flavor is still fantastic. I keep my draw slow to medium. The draw rate, like the restrictiveness, isn't great. It's definitely pretty restrictive, but most vapes who are restrictive, it's for a reason. They don't just do it for no reason. They don't, it's not that they don't understand that a lighter draw is more comfortable. It's just, it helps the vape perform optimally. And typically, the less airflow there is, the more flavor you're going to get, because with more air, there's more, you're diluting the vapor more. So it just, everything comes together for this vape to just feel so great and taste so good to use. From just the simple mouthpiece, and it's very comfortable, it's removable, you can clean the screen, and this just pops right open. You can give it a quick stir and then put it right back on. I know a lot of other vapes have kind of more of a convoluted process. Like the Ghost, you'd have to open up the chamber, you gotta wait for it to cool off a little, you gotta pop off the cap of the crucible, gotta stir it, you gotta put it all back together, close it up. This is just so incredibly simple. I like to sort of think of this vape as like a cousin to the Magic Flight Box in just how simple the device is and just the device itself. But this is just so much more premium. This vape is just way more high-end, flavors way better, effects are way better, incredibly efficient. You don't need a lot of herb in this. Guys, it really is an awesome vape. Personally, it's not something I would have as a daily driver. It's not a vape I could use if it was the only vape I had. I would definitely want something else. But there's just a funny little dichotomy there, because this is also one of my favorite vapes I've ever used. So it just goes to show that your preference or what you need in a vape doesn't necessarily relate to how much you enjoy a vape or how much you appreciate a vape or how much you realize a vape is actually a great vape, even if it doesn't suit your needs. I know tons of people who have just very different vape preferences than me, and while I enjoy their vapes, it's something I could never use on a daily basis, and then vice versa. I have a vape that I use every single day that some people use once a month. It's just not something that works out for their schedule. So every vape is different for everyone, but the Firefly 2, if you're looking for great flavs, a very enjoyable experience, very, very smooth, very pure vapor, very simple, this vape is going to be absolutely perfect for you. If you're looking to go 0 to 100 as fast as possible and get as stoned as possible, you might want to look elsewhere. I'm not saying this vape won't medicate you, it absolutely will, but guys, there's nothing like a massive lung-pounding rip that has you just clenching on the floor, begging for mercy. And this vape, it won't get you there. It won't do that to you. But, you know, that's also why some people will love this vape. I'm going to go for another rip just because, guys, it is just so enjoyable. We're going to do one more just so you guys can see what back-to-back rips are like. Definitely a good amount of vapor. Flavor is still just so good, guys. It's not harsh on the throat at all. It comes into the lungs very easy. I just really don't have many negatives to say about this vape, and the only real negatives are just things that you'd want in a vape that this vape isn't built for, which would be just massive clouds, easy like water adaptability, things like that. The vape isn't built to do those things, and what it is built for, it just does absolutely flawlessly, guys. It really is just such an amazing vape at accomplishing the goal that it wants to accomplish, which is just very clean, very pure, very easy, simple vapor. And just straight out of the box, day one, I've gotten that with every single draw. There hasn't been a draw out of place. There's nothing that seems inconsistent. I know with some of my vapes, like grind has a lot to do with it, the pack, your draw rate, just on a given day, sometimes it seems to work better than others. On a given sesh, it does. the Firefly has just been consistent all the way through. It's not really something I particularly expected myself to want or like. It just, a friend offered me to use it and I gave it a try, and I am just so pleased with it. When I return it, I won't be purchasing it on my own, most likely. It's just too expensive, and it's not really something I need in my arsenal, so I can't justify it. But with that said, if it was something I had in my possession, I would definitely find a place for it and I would definitely use it. Just can't recommend it enough, guys. Going for another rip. There wasn't much there. I blinked red. I'm thinking I'm out of battery. It wasn't fully charged when I showed up. I think I'm getting like 4 sessions or so. I don't really run it till empty normally, and I don't use it often enough to really keep track of the battery, but it seems to charge pretty quick. The charger is awesome. It just slides onto a little stand, basically. Nothing gets plugged in, which adds to like that elegant feel. It is very easy to clean. You would just pop this off and wipe this down with ISO, and wipe this down with ISO, and then clean out the bowl a little bit. And yes, super easy. The manufacturer, I believe, recommends stirring every 5 draws, and that's something I can agree with. And I had the thought of if you have to stir a vape, it may not be the best flavor because some parts are heating more than others, and that's just not true at all with the Firefly. The bottom does tend to vape more, so like a stirring is required, or at least highly recommended. But because it's just heated so gradually, it doesn't affect flavor whatsoever. The fact that some parts are getting vaped a little bit more than others, it just hasn't been an issue for me. Flavor is probably the best I've tasted of any vape, and consistently at that. So yeah, guys, highly recommended. Great vape, feels great, awesome to use, great flavor. There's really nothing I dislike about this vape. If I really want those potent clouds, I can turn the temp up. This is only on temp 370. I could easily go up to temp like 420 or so, get some more rips. There's a concentrate mode. I believe it goes up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. I have not used that, but people have said the Firefly is great for concentrates. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Great vape, highly recommend it. If you have any questions, feel free to message me on Instagram, on Fuck Combustion. Everything's basically AJS or AJSFC. Comment on YouTube. If you have any questions, I will get back to you guys as soon as I can, but typically I don't really check my YouTube too much. I just upload a video and call it a day. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoy. Great vape. Peace!